similar demands.
Due to this development, the National Council of the Association at its meeting held on 25th June 2025 deliberated extensively on the content of the letter and wishes to state as follows. 1. The strike was suspended in good faith, and we expect nothing less than a reciprocity of same. The rescheduling of the meeting, in our view, is in bad faith, since it may further delay the implementation of the agreed items. We have, however, decided to give the committee the benefit of hindsight and still trust that their engagement with the Ministries of Health and Finance will be productive. Number 2, we demand the implementation of the 4 agreed items not later than July 2025. This is non-negotiable.
And he heard from the president of the association, Perpetual Oforiampofo, addressing the media in Accra. And in an emotional address to the nation yesterday, suspended Chief Justice Gertrude Tokonu raised serious concerns about alleged irregularities in the ongoing Article 146 impeachment proceedings against her. She detailed what she believes to be significant procedural violations, prompting her to instruct her lawyers to seek judicial review at the High Court. Listen to the excerpts of that conference that was held yesterday.
The clear danger is that through this flagrant violation of CI 47 and the darkness of the current proceedings being held in camera behind the walls of a Edu Lodge, my lawyers and I can come to the end of the proceedings. The evidence will show that every one of those allegations in the petitions that were given to me on 27th March is unfounded and untrue. And yet, the committee can dig up some allegation from whatever documents they claim to be having from the president, which they have not shown to me, and purport to enter a recommendation for my removal on that basis. Allow me to say that this is totally unknown in the rule of law in this country. If it was lawful, I would have no reason to alert the nation of the dangers they represent. It is the violations of law that have forced me to bring these matters out in the light of day. The final and fourth reason for this statement is that I have heard on several occasions from loved ones, persons who care, persons who may not know me beyond my public duties, and many who think that since these proceedings seem to be carefully staged to result in my removal as Chief Justice, it would be best if I just retired or resigned rather than subject myself to an ill-motivated process. I have also received threats and veiled threats to the effect that if I fail to resign or retire voluntarily, I will be made to suffer some harm or the other.
So just run by you some excerpts of the press briefing that was held by the suspended Chief Justice Gertrude Tokonu yesterday. But let's just also run you through the violations that have been cited by the CJ by the committee. And so 1, committee's refusal in breach of the rules of natural justice to recognize her counsel on first day of proceedings, and also the committee's failure to indicate the specific allegations in respect of which a prima facie case has been established, as well as the reasons for same, and also the committee's decision to permit 2 of the petitioners, that's Mr. Daniel Ofori and Shining Stars, not to testify, and a denial of opportunity to be in the hearing room with my husband or a close family member, and also a thorough search on my body and handbags in violation of protocols and courtesies extended to the Chief Justice, and also the conduct of the hearing in a condoned high security zone on Castle Drive, that Osu, and other concerns. The CJ raised border on breach of rules of disclosure, where she alleged the committee's refusal to provide copies of the petitions and the President's prima facie determination hindering her ability to respond effectively. The Chief Justice's legal team is seeking judicial review, arguing that these procedural flaws undermine the fairness and legitimacy of the process. And now let's go into the telephone lines and engage a private legal practitioner in that regard, and that's Christian Mom Hesse. Good afternoon, counsel, and thanks for joining us on Midday Live. Lawyer, do you believe the Chief Justice's public comments amounted to a breach of her oath of office under the Constitution? It seems we find it difficult to connect to the legal practitioner, but we'll surely come back and have his take on the press briefing that was held by the suspended Chief Justice yesterday. And away from that, the Office of the Special Prosecutor has filed an appeal challenging the decision of the High Court in Kumasi, which acquitted and discharged Alexander Kwabena Safo-Kantanka, President Akufo-Addo's nominee for Municipal Chief Executive of Drammen in the Ashanti region. And Mr. Safo-Kantanka was seen in a widely circulated video demanding refunds from assembly members following the rejection of his nomination. He was subsequently charged with 26 counts of corruption, alleging he paid bribes to influence the outcome. The trial judgment, initially ready for delivery in November 2024, was delayed after the presiding judge was transferred on the scheduled date to be read. The judgment was ultimately delivered on 26th May 2025, and the court held that the video did not establish a direct link to the alleged bribery. The OSP, disagreeing with the ruling, argues that the judgment is inconsistent with the weight of the evidence and that the trial judge erred on key legal and factual issues. The OSP believes justice was not served and has taken steps to challenge the decision at the appellate level. We'll follow up on this very development and surely finish with updates in our subsequent bulletins. If you just tune in, you are listening to the Midday News here on 3FM with me, George Kwaning. More news this afternoon. The Ghana Health Service is warning of an uptick in the number of COVID-19 cases in Ghana in recent weeks after recording some cases. This is currently limited to the University of Ghana community. The Ghana Health Service in a statement notes that it is actively collaborating with the university authorities to contain the outbreak and review measures in response to the evolving situation. The statement indicates the current cases are all mild with no admissions. However, if anyone experiences any of the following symptoms, including fever or chills, cough, sore throat, general bodily weakness and shortness or difficulty in breathing, loss of taste or smell, immediately report to the nearest hospital. Here are the 6 prevention protocols the service has outlined. Number 1, maintain social distancing. 2, wear face masks, especially in enclosed or polyventilated areas. 3rd one, wash hands with soap and the running water or use hand sanitizer. The 4th, stay at home and self-isolate if unwell, and also avoid large gatherings. And finally, seek medical attention if symptoms develop. The statement also concluded that the World Health Organization, WHO, no longer classifies COVID-19 as a public health emergency of international concern. However, the pandemic is not over. Sporadic outbreaks, which may follow seasonal patterns, are expected to occur globally. And so let's go into the telephone lines and engage Lovelace Bobo B. Kwajo Ejo, who is a public health scientist. Good afternoon, Lovelace. The Ghana Health Service has reported an uptick of COVID-19 cases, particularly within the University of Ghana campus. Can you give us a sense of how serious this issue is?
A confirmed case, and would, as public health practitioners, it is our duty to speak to and bridge the gap between health provision and the public. We will only want to urge the public to be calm as the case is currently under control, with what the Director General released to the public today on the matter. With our people at the Ligushi and the other research centers, they are also on top of issues. And we only advise, per what have already been released, that all other issues concerning gathering should be taken into serious concern by the university and the students as well to adhere to protocols as COVID is concerned.
Lovely. The statement says all current cases are mild with no hospitalizations. Should this reassure the public, or is there still some cause for concern? Lovely, if you can hear me. What I said is the statement says all current cases are mild with no hospitalizations. Should this reassure the public, or is there still some cause for concern? It seems we've lost Lovelace there. He is a public health scientist, Lovelace Bobby Kwajo Ejo. Let's try and reconnect with Lovelace, and it's about the resurgence of COVID-19 in the University of Ghana campus, and some protocols have been outlined. Maintain social distancing, wear face masks, especially in enclosed or poorly ventilated areas, wash hands with soap and the running water, or use hand sanitizer. Also, stay at home and self-isolate if you feel you're unwell, and avoid large gatherings, and seek medical attention if symptoms develop. We're trying to, it's actually back on. Lovelace is back. Lovelace, thanks for joining us again. And the statement says all current cases are mild with no hospitalization. Should this reassure the public, or there should still be some cause of concern?
No, we should be assured of us being taken good care of. For as long as the cases are not of any admission issues and the patients are doing well and will not need to be under any too much concern, we should be assured of good control.
Why do you think the outbreak is currently localized within the University of Ghana community? Are there particular factors at play?
Yeah, when we talk about localization, means that the case is under control. Should it be any activities that would take the cases out of concern, then we'll be able to talk about it. If you look at the university setting, means that there are no much situations that would escalate the issue. So I'm very sure as we speak, a lot of contact tracing have been done with respect to those that have been tested, and issues concerning its control is been contained so far.
So before we let you go, given that World Health Organization no longer considers COVID-19 as a global emergency, how should people interpret the continued emergence of these sporadic outbreaks?
So as we speak, taking into consideration such statements do not mean that we should let down our guards. As we speak, you as media persons who are our mouthpiece will know that after COVID, for about 2-3 years now, what we used to do, our hand washing, our nose masks in terms of public gathering, those have all been lessened. We should try our possible best to go back into us practicing the hygiene, good hygiene, washing of our hands intermittently before and after getting to places or also getting into contact. This would help us. It should be our daily activity. This would be able to take us far away from coming to this. For the fact that WHO has stated emphatically that this is no more a threat, doesn't mean it doesn't live with us. It is still with us. So we have to do our possible best to minimize the transmission. So wherever we find ourselves, especially in public gathering, churches, schools, and activities like sport, with a political gathering, we should be able to minimize our contact, and if possible, we should be able to mount hand washing or provide sanitizer at those gatherings. This would help us to overcome the outbreak should it be identified like how it is being identified at Legon.
Thank you so much, Lovelace. We'll surely come back to you if you need some clarity on this very matter. Let me just rehash what he has said. Lovelace, Bobby B. Kwajo Ejo is a public health scientist. And let me just rehash some of these protocols that have been outlined by the Ghana Health Service and that of Lovelace just recently. Maintain social distancing, wear face masks, especially in enclosed or poorly ventilated areas, wash hands with soap and running water, or use hand sanitizer. Stay at home and self-isolate if unwell, and avoid large gatherings, and finally, seek medical attention if symptoms develop. My name is George Kwaning. We're going for a quick commercial break. The news continues right after. Stay with us.
Freezer, yeah, diaba. Adama for diaba. A freezer. Adama, a quick what's mentia. Adama. Make him so, my sorry. Can you know? Obo Moasia. I do fresh the Nobium Unum and San last night. I tell what we did was here. Adama for what we say. Yeah, the Adruba Cope, a ship we be a high technology. I go for freezer ba when and once open your 15 latest no fiegum what ya no fiegum o de basia fu ye bie no basia bio e ko ti se obeti mo no na mu ye sure se o mention tasie ne mu ase na afọ na anu a freezer o mpa we na apade freezer
basia e ba so do so ama amoni age
o mu ti na me wasika o mu ti na me di me nyina du ba bi so mu dum bi adama wo that adama no kua adama you can't resist.
Ubenya Adama West Africa for edwe bi wo baby biara ye ton kraye ho edwu. Afi kayo ne kenkan enchoya ewo edre ho.
Welcome back from the break. The news continues. President John Dramani Mahama has urged world leaders to weigh the cost of B-2 bombers recently deployed in attacks on Iranian nuclear facilities against the potential to save lives through immunization. Speaking at the Global Health and Prosperity Summit in Brussels, Belgium, the president, who also serves as a Gavi Alliance ambassador, emphasized that $9 billion is needed to combat childhood killer diseases. Take a listen.
This morning while I was lying in bed, I did the research. And I realized that one B-2 Spirit bomber that dropped bombs on Iran recently cost $2.13 billion. If you work the math, what Gavi is seeking is the value of 4 of those B-2 bombers. Surely the world can afford the value of 4 B-2 bombers to save 500 million children. It's a choice we have to make. It's a choice we have to make between taking lives and saving lives. And I'm sure that we will save lives instead of taking lives. And so, on behalf of the children of Ghana, I say thank you to Gavi. I say thank you to all who have pledged today. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Just so you know, you can get more updates on this very Global Health and Prosperity Summit in Brussels if you log on to our website, it's 3news.com. And now let's talk some international news. And the ambassador of Israel to Ghana, Roy Gilad, has expressed worry about how the government of Iran has focused on misplaced priorities by investing in nuclear weapons instead of the socio-economic development of its people. Addressing selected journalists in Accra, he indicated that the current regime has proven to be destructive and oppressive, hence the need for a regime change. He has also been speaking about the ongoing war in Gaza. And Aman Christian Yale is the one we're going to connect to right now to give us more updates on this. Christian, thanks for joining us. Yale, what has he been saying apart from what I've just mentioned?
George.
Christian, if you can... Christian, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, George.
Christian, what more has the ambassador been saying? Tell us.
All right, basically, and so the ambassador has been talking about the fact that the current regime in Iran has not been focusing on developing the interests of its people and even as well as the development of Iran, but has focused on building nuclear weapons and missiles and the rest of them to attack neighboring countries in the Middle East. He says that such a regime is one that cannot be allowed to continue to stay in power, for which reason Israel is asking for this change in regime so that there will be that tranquility and peace within the Middle East. And so that is the clarion call. He goes ahead, among many other things, to talk about the fact that when you look at it, Israel has chosen to be so serious with Iran because they did not do the same with Hamas, for instance, which caught them by surprise and led to the kind of struggles that Israel found itself in dealing with the people of Hamas, especially with the ongoing war in Gaza. And so they are going to take that issue of Iran so seriously to ensure that there is a ceasefire. And he is praying that even the current ceasefire deal that they brokered is one that would last longer and bring about peace in the Middle East, which is the Israel's, position and also, clarion call for that peace in the Middle East to ensure that the lives that are being lost comes to an end. George.
Yeah. Before you go, what has been saying about the war in Gaza?
Exactly. So he describes them, for instance, like an octopus. She mentions, for instance, that they went to sleep and they slept on their auras because when you look at it, Hamas or Gaza has become like a snake that is so poisonous. He says, for instance, at a point they felt or thought that it is a snake which belly has become full and so would not swallow any more things. But little did they know that Hamas or Gaza is so that snake that no matter how satisfied it is, would want to swallow more and eat more. And so they were caught by surprise. He talks about the fact that Hamas has been taking advantage of United Nations peace treaties and also mediation talks and has seized the kind of humanitarian support that Israel is wanting to give to the people in Gaza and even the Palestinians, for which reason they want to continue to press and ensure that the leaders of Hamas withdraw quickly and also release their hostages.
And before I engage you, the President, John Dramani Mahama, at the Prosperity Summit mentioned that 4 of the B-2 bombers that were, deployed to attack nuclear facilities in Iranian, 4 of them can actually combat childhood killer disease. That's a whopping $9 billion. Was there any sense of urgency or even the impact that this very war is having on people? Was that, stressed there?
Exactly. He stresses that, for instance, they are not happy about lives being lost. They are not happy about people who do not get access to humanitarian aid. And even within Israel as a country and of itself, there are divided opinions. Those who believe that, prioritize the life of the Israelites and then ignore that of other people. And those who believe that Israel should stand upright for what is the right. And so that concern is there, and they are only seeking that there is an end immediately, George.
So let's hear from the Israeli ambassador Roy Gilad when he spoke to Sam Seleta Media House in Accra.
Unlike Iran, that we took very seriously, I think we failed to take the Hamas seriously. We thought they are only talking. We thought that if we can appease them, as we did with allowing Qatar to pay the money, with letting them live reasonable life in Gaza and having the bank accounts of the leaders of Hamas getting bigger and bigger, in so many words they were bribed. And we thought that's enough. We thought they're only talking and they will not bring these words into action. On the 7th of October 23, 630 days ago, we woke up and we realized we made a huge mistake.
And this is Midday Live on TV3 with me, George Kwaning, live on social media platforms and all affiliate stations across the country. And we just run by you an interview with my colleague Kishan Yale, who monitored a press briefing by the Iranian ambassador, the Israeli ambassador to Ghana, and that's Roy Gilad. And that's how we end today's edition of today's edition of Midday Live. But before we go, let me just run by you the top stories this afternoon. And Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, GRNMA, issues ultimatum to government to implement agreed conditions of service by the end of July or face series of industrial action. And legal experts sharply divided on whether the suspended Chief Justice Tokonu's public statement violates the in-camera nature of Article 146 proceedings. And Ghana Health Service confirms marked COVID-19 outbreak on the University of Ghana campus at its urges public vigilance. Before I go, let me just run by you these protocols regarding this very outbreak. And so maintain social distancing, wear face masks, especially in enclosed or polyventilated areas, wash hands with soap and running water, or use hand sanitizer. Also stay at home and self